I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood Season 1, Episode 10. Last episode was my favorite episode of the series so far. I love it. We're 9 episodes in, now 10, and I had that much of an emotional reaction to Ed and Al having the dispute that they had and then resolving that dispute. It was everything
in the
to
way
me.
that they did.
Winry's great. Hughes pulls guns on kids. How could this show get better?
Scar has great tattoos.
True.
And he has a family that might not exist anymore, but they're the reason he has those tattoos.
Yeah.
And we could learn more about that, and that would be awesome.
Maybe this entire episode's about that interaction that he had with what we think it was Kimberly, right? We think it's Kimberly.
We think it's Kimberly.
And he can maybe recount that with the other Ishvalan that are with him. Maybe. Ready?
Yep.
Sweet. Ooh.
Ooh, are we seeing during the war?
Yeah, we are.
State Alchemist.
Oh.
Look at those gloves.
Wow.
We know what he's shooting for, too.
I love how, like, smart Roy is. Riza?
お疲れでしたら仮眠室へ行かれては。セントラルに移動になる前にやりかけの書類をまとめておきたくてな。このところあまり寝ていない。何か夢を見ておられたようですが。何？つまらん思い出だ。
Insignificant.
Separate destinations. How do you feel about Roy?
Well, from that look that he was giving those in the higher up positions that are making the choices to send them into a war that is annihilating a group of people, he's trying to achieve a place there, and seemingly from his look has a disdain for the people that are in those positions.
There's something that I love about, like, I could easily hate somebody who has naive idealism. But there's something I adore about somebody who has naive idealism if they come across in a way that makes me feel like they've already acknowledged that what they have is naivety, and they don't give a shit. They're like, I'm still right. I'm like, oh, okay. I feel like Hughes.
I think that for Hughes, something that is pretty cool to see from that war conversation is like, it almost makes his love for his child and his wife make so much more sense. Like the peace he finds at home after the atrocities he did at war.
But I would love to just learn more about Hughes's viewpoint of everything, because with that family could easily come like the thinking of the parallels of what you did to other families, you know? Oh, man. Beautiful.
It's a great picture.
At least our focus is on lust and envy, though.
Yep, you probably shouldn't listen in.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Why? The timing's weird.
The door is about to like...
Dr. Marco.
This is really freaking... Oh, this is... The fact that it's him... I feel, especially with Roy's look he gave him, I feel... Ugh.
Okay, I'm wrong about him. He's great.
Oh no.
King Bradley is in the walls.
こまで知った。場合によっては。冗談だ。そう構えずともよい。はあ。者たち全員行方不明になっているぞ。第5研究所が崩壊する数日前にな。
Several days before it collapsed.
そして私の情報を
They
持
were
ってしても、その大きさも目的もここまで敵の手が入り込んでいるかも
Jesus.
つかめていないのが現状だ。探りを入れるのはかなり危険であると。
You don't know when you're gonna find a landmine.
何人も信用してはならん。軍内部すべて敵と思い慎んで行動せよ。だが時が来たら君たちには存分に働いてもらうので覚悟しておくように。
It's like he snuck away to do this.
仕事をこっそり抜け出してきた。ではさらば。
He looks like Armstrong right now. Just like bald with a little
今度はどこへ行くんだ？ダブリス？
ああ、
doubless.
あるとも話し合って先生のところへ行こうってことになって。
Yes!
やっぱ怖いよ。あんたたちの先生って。
I'm
Winry
surprised.
doesn't know?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
ここ南部の真ん中あたり。
Okay.
ここよここ。ダブリスの手前。オートメイルの聖地ラッシュバレー。
Rush Valley.
行ってみたかった
Can
の。
Winry come, please?
Please.
一人で行けそんなとこ。ああまあいいんじゃない。ついでだし。しょうがねえな。
あれはいい嫁さんになるぞ。まあうちの嫁さんほどじゃないけどな。でもなるべく早く帰ってきちゃう。
When Ed and Winry really do get married, Hughes is definitely gonna feel like he's giving his kids away.
キューズさん、本当にお世話になりました。
I love the animation on Winry's hair there.
いってらっしゃい。
If anything ever happens to Hughes, I will never forgive the show.
急に先生のところへ行こうなんて思ったの？理由は2つ。
Okay.
2 reasons.
どうにも負けっぱなしでよ。喧嘩だけじゃなくて中身もっていうかな。そうそう。とにかく先生のところに行けばなんか強くなれる気がする。
Interesting.
俺はもっともっと強くなりたい。賢者の石について先生に聞く。真実の奥のさらなる
Truth within the truth.
先生にぶっ殺される覚悟で聞いて短い人生だったと。せめて彼女だけでも作っておきたかったよ。
東部も大変だな。東部だけでなく北も西もどうだ国境線だと。あっちもこっちも死体の山か。
I like that.
そのうち国家転覆するんじゃ。
Ooh.
ここへ行ってくる。
Interesting.
リオール各地の暴動賢者の石。
He's trying to make sense of it all.
イシュバールで俺たちがやったこと。おい、どこのドイツだ。こんなこと考えやがるな。早く。
Oh, no, no! Hell fucking No!
Fullmetal
Absolutely not!
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Turn as many little girls into dogs as you want. Anything. I don't care. Just don't do this shit.
Please no. Save him somehow! A warning shot? Was that just like a warning shot? Like a you better back off?
Oh, what the fuck? That's not death?
He needs to call Roy.
Oh.
Think about what Bradley said too. Like, who can you even trust?
Oh no.
Is that Scar or something? No. What? The
受話器
fuck?
を置いていただけますか
What the?
What the
What the
fuck?
少尉じゃねえな。誰だあんた。
Is it Envy?
少尉は左目の下に泣きぼくろがあるんだよ。
はあ、そうだっけ。うっかりしてたよ。
God, I hate how fucking cool that looked.
頭の回転が速いばっかりにとんだ災難だったね。ヒューズ中さ。
おいおい、勘弁してくれ。
Has the phone connected? Like,
子供が待ってるんだ。ここで死ぬわけにはいかねえんだよ。
いい演出だろう。
That is so fucked up.
セントラルのヒューズ中佐から一般回線で通信です。
私だ。娘自慢なら聞かんぞ。ヒューズ。ヒューズ。おい、ヒューズ。
人間って本当愚かだよね。無駄なことに命かけちゃったりしてさ。
早く帰るって約束。
and Ed and Al aren't even fucking there.
最高。
グレイシアさんって
I don't want to watch this show
Oh,
anymore.
they have
てるよ。
home cooked
They have
stuff from the wife.
作り方教えてもらったから、アルの体が戻ったら焼いてあげるね。やったー。ヒューズさんもグレイシアさんもすごくいい人だった。
ヒューズ中佐って親バカで世話焼きで鬱陶しいんだよな。仕事が忙しいって言いながら。
They have to be talking about it like this because he's actually dead, right? Like, it,
We ought to thank
Yeah.
him. Well, you can't fucking thank him anymore. Oh, great, you're missing the funeral.
are you fucking kidding me?
どうしてパパ埋められちゃうの？
エリシア。
そんなことしたらパパお仕事できなくなっちゃうよ。
エリシ
やだよ。埋めないでよ。パパ。
殉職で2階級特進。ヒューズ准将か。錬金術師というのは嫌な生き物だな。注意。頭の中で人体錬成の理論を必死になって組み立てている自分がいる。あの子らが母親を錬成しようとした気持ちが今ならわかる気がする。
大丈夫ですか？
ガン、雨が降ってきたな。
いいえ、雨なんて。
いや、雨だよ。
そうですね。戻りましょう。ここは冷えます。
職へ行くと出て行きましてね。中佐を見た最後でした。
Blood on the wall.
何者かと争ったのか。軍法会議所で何かに気づき、社内で通信できたものをわざわざ外に出て私に連絡を取ろうとした。
To give the idea of enemies on the inside.
軍がヤバいというヒューズの言葉を聞いている。
エボシはついておりますが、どこの誰かもわからんのです。
どういうことだ。詳しく話せ。大佐である私が話せと言っているのだ。上官に
But he was told by Bradley.
話せません。
That's where I get
そ
it.
ういえば我が輩言い忘れておりました。
エルリック兄弟が。
そう、エルリック兄弟です。
彼らの探し物は見つかったのかね。
いいえ、何しろそれは伝説級の代物ですので。
そうか。ありがとう。
これといった情報は得られませんでしたね。
But it was an attempt.
少佐はお人よしだ。ヒューズを殺害したと思われる者たちということは、相手は複数。
Imagine conveying information without conveying information. God, I fucking love
大佐
Armstrong.
である私の命令であろうという
Means it
わけ
came from someone higher than
と
you.
いうことは、私以上の者が少佐に口止めしているという軍上層部絡みと考えていいだろう。
The military's in
エ
trouble.
ルリック兄弟の探し物、すなわち賢者の石だ。こうも死もあるものか。大総統の地位をもらうのも
Nothing personal or...
Let's go!
It's all personal.
Okay, that was Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, episode 10. I think that most of the time, I'd like to think when a character is being shown as, like, extremely lovable, I'm like, oh, they're gonna die. It's only a matter of time.
Too.
I didn't have that with Hughes because I'm stupid. I'm sorry, but there's something that Fullmetal Alchemist has within its narrative that made me, I think, might be part of the reason why I didn't think it was going to be real and had me hoping that this was some fake out and wasn't actually him dying. And that was like the complexities of war and doing things that aren't good and living with the consequence and potentially living with the idea of wanting things to be different. Like, through what we got with Roy this episode in the beginning, I'm like, all of these people did shit within the war under King Bradley. Through finding this information, I would love to see each and every one of them's interpretation of what they did, how they feel about it, and what's going to be different. Because it seems like Hughes had so much of a drive and desire to see the world that Roy wanted to create. Mm-hmm. So it's brilliant that he doesn't get to, but it's fucking heartbreaking.
I love the way that you phrased the idea that you were feeling like the show was depicting characters living through the consequences of actions that they either did by direction of others or for personal reasons for themselves, and living through those consequences. And, you know, that is what we've seen a lot of from the brothers to the state alchemists and what they did during the Ishvalan War, our character Scar, and obviously living through losing, I would say, probably his entire family through the war and what he's now choosing to do with his life. I will say that when Hughes was first introduced to us as a character, and I can't remember exactly which episode it was, but I really remember being like, they're gonna kill this guy. Yeah. Because he's in this parental father figure, he's in love with his family, he's taking in the brothers. It felt like it was gonna happen, but I feel like my feelings in this episode and after watching it, I don't know how exactly to describe it, but it almost feels comedic to me that he actually died. 'Cause I'm like, there's something that doesn't feel real to me. Like it's not clicking. I'm like, they weren't actually gonna do that. You know, like I thought they were, 'cause like a lot of pieces were in place for them to do it. But there's still a part of me that's like, no, come on, that was too, you really did it.
Yeah.
Like I almost like, it was hard to be brought too much to tears initially. I think what got me is Roy's reaction to it. That was really like a selling point, was definitely the after. Because I was just so like, wait, are they really actually killing Hughes? Like, is that really actually happening? Is that because the deaths we've seen so far are characters that we've either never met before or just aren't in the main cast? Like,
I think it's because we're 10 episodes in. We don't know.
It hasn't been established what the loss is going to be for like people that we are getting attached to.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I have so many like spiraling thoughts right now going in my head, and all of them end with the thought of, I'm going to preface that I could totally be wrong here, of course, but all of it hinges on how bad of a guy King Bradley is. And what I mean by that is my current thinking is that he's a very bad guy, but how bad? Is he going to be the big bad or like the ending bad? Mm-hmm. Because that depending on which route I want to go, I have more questions and more things that I want to talk about.
He's either the bad or he's trying to suss out who the bad is within his own, like, closest. Like, when Roy looks up, it's not just Bradley that's standing there at the ranks that he wants to reach. There's, like, 3 or so men next to him. And so it could be... And I think that we throw the teacher into this episode in order to create this kind of complex intimidation conversation. Like, is this person intimidating but still a good person? Is this person actually gonna kill you? And Bradley, so many reasons why we should be skeptical of him, nervous around him, scared of him. And obviously we see through subordinates of his that they are pretty terrified to him showing up here. But then some of the words he says to them almost is like he's heeding good advice. Like,
none of the words he's saying is heeding good advice from where I'm coming from.
Do you see it as like you're gonna get into trouble if you, like... No.
Not a threat like that either.
Okay.
So let me take, like, so to remind, like, where I'm at, in that I can totally be wrong. I have two options: one that he's the big bad, or one that he's the big bad, like directly under who is, you know,
the biggest of the bads,
father or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
Father.
So either way, just for a second, like theory wise, in rereading and understanding, like, what King Bradley is saying and what information he might already have, like, all of these men have gone missing. They disappeared several days before the fifth laboratory collapsed. The enemy's always a step ahead of us. And even with my information network, as it currently stands, I have no handle on the enemy's size, their objectives, or how far they've penetrated us. Like, let's say King Bradley is in direct or has conversations and communications with Envy and Lust, and is able to see all this information in front of him that Al and Ed have gathered and are sharing with people, and are like, okay, this is exactly how much information my biggest ops currently have right now, right? Because, in my opinion, that's one of the only ways that we can set up an idea that Lust is going to get to Hughes so quickly. Like,
why Hughes is the one selected.
There's only so many people in this room, and it's not that Hughes is selected, I don't think. I think it's from, like, potentially, King Bradley here has, instead of a pool of people who might be getting too close to the sun, has a small room of people that he now knows are on their way to get to the sun. The reason that it's Hughes, I think that he might have told Lust and Envy or whoever else, be like, keep an ear to the ground for these number of people. And it was Hughes because Hughes was next to Sheska and her information coming to the front. He was the first person out of the group who had parallel information lining up to breed this realization. And upon that, like, snap, okay, we're taking it out right now. But so that's where I'm at with King Bradley. My issue is about Big Bad or Big Bad is how he was reacting to Hughes's death at the funeral. He had, like, a scene. Like, obviously Roy had a scene.
Alicia started calling for her dad and asking why they were covering him up, that there was a reaction from Bradley.
Yeah. And since there's the reaction from him, it's one of three things. It's, damn, yeah, I am the bad guy, and this fucking hurts still, because this is what it's gonna take. Either he's not the bad guy at all, and this is real, or it's off the deep end evil, like this little kid saying something and fuck him. Like, I that's where my feeling of him being bad starts falling apart, because it seemed like it was a direct reaction of the grief that was happening. Right. And I don't know how that fits in.
There's definitely certain criminal mindsets that could align with showing, it's not remorse, but showing, oh, this poor unfortunate person had to die for the cause. Like, there's still an emotional reaction, even though you were the one that brought about the death.
Mm-hmm.
Which it makes me think of Scar, because when he's killing, he's doing it for what he views as this is kind of great, you had to die for this reason, kind of greater good, godly purpose. I think that, obviously, just right to get it out of the way, color scheme, Lust and Envy, they look like Bradley in color scheme. They look like they could be his kids. And so when you, even though they're not human, but like they look like they could be his kids, obviously the term father is what they are using right now. I think that when we have, I'm not sold that he's like big bad, but if he was big bad, then I could see it going the scapegoat route. Like, you created these, like, envy your children to get the blame put on them for penetrating and overthrowing the government, for you to end up getting what you want, and they see it as like they're helping you get here, and then they're going to be placed beside you in positions of love and power, and really you're just going to blame them as this offshoot group that's like a way.
Agreed, but my only, and I 100% agree with you and lean towards that direction, if it wasn't for all the power he already has. Like, the power that he's accumulating now seems to be more about the alchemism, like alchemist, like Philosopher's Stone type ideology, rather than like rule over a government and more power that way. It seems like he's accumulating this shit under as many layers as he can, so people don't realize it, so people like can't stop it before it's too late. But what that too late is, I have no idea, because you've offered up an idea that makes sense, but it seems more like extreme than that.
Like, yeah, he could be all powerful, he could be king and be in control, but if you are aware that your power is not forever, and that people might try to overthrow you, or there's already seeds being planted, especially after some of your choices as leader, that people are unhappy with your rule, that there is a step above being king or being the leader. There is the step of almost godhood.
Yeah.
Which could still be as you would want. He says that he has kind of people everywhere. He has a network. If you are a leader of a country, you're not going to want people to be able to piece together that you want to be leader forever and ever and ever, and squash anyone that ever tries to argue against it. Maybe even expand your rule to other places that you don't currently have.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I view him as maybe being a little more complex and not actually bad. Like, bad because obviously he ordered a war that I deem as a person morally wrong, genocide of a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. But I don't know if I feel like there has to be someone else at the moment.
The only reason that it feels so sure to me is because of that direct, like, cause and result to Hughes specifically, and him being in the room with Hughes, you know? Like, which
could be on point to get you to suspect that Bradley, because that's what they were playing with that whole time. Like, Bradley walks in the room, everyone's scared, and then he starts to laugh and the tension's broken.
But I think that's
up down.
That's like scared, like, oh, my boss just caught me on my phone. That's not scared like this person's potentially the evil man, you know?
But he did. Okay, so then what would it do if they're not thinking of you as more than just the boss, and they're not thinking of you as the evil man? What good does it do for you to make them be suspicious of other? Is that just to isolate them, alienate them, make it so they don't talk to other people?
While you're getting rid of them, or while you're definitely trying to halt the flow of information or slow it down.
But here's like
you're making it so if anything more is found, if your real enemy is this group of people, and you've been able to look at the piece of paper and be like, okay, this is how much of my plan they already know, then you get real-time updates every time they get more information about your plan by making them that secret, closed-off collective.
Hughes's death was B-plot. Like, I feel like if you are intentionally trying to get people to be isolated from others and not converse, then the A plot would have been Envy waiting for him at the phone booth. But Lust was lurking within the actual, like, offices, like, within the military. Like, that was the A plan.
Do you think Hughes dies if Sheska isn't here? Like, I don't think the information, like, there's a chance the information would not have been brought to him in such, like, a perfect situation, like, realization way if all of the information didn't collide at the same time. He obviously needed to realize it. I'm just, like,
he's in such a kind of Jenga position with that question of, like, is it what has created this death for him? Because of the fact that his relationship with Roy, and especially what we get at the beginning of this episode in terms of him kind of being a lower level person to help boost up and help Roy achieve the position he wants to achieve. But Hughes is also in a relatively good position himself. He experienced and was a part of the things in the war. He's a father figure now to the Elric brothers, and he's taken in Winry recently.
Yeah.
It seems like there's so much to him that puts him in that place other than certain information being, like, given to him, that I'm like, you pull out, I don't know, you pull that out, does the tower fall or not? I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. Fuck.
I
like, right at the funeral scene, I, like, had a thought being like, oh, he's not actually dead. This is all a plan, a secret cover-up. But then as it kept going, and I'm more like, oh, no, it's Bradley here is what's going on. No, he's actually dead. Like,
I felt like I was faked out for a second, because when you see Roy at the funeral first, it's this side profile with his face kind of covered and his hair has been slicked back with the hat, where he almost looks like Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, was Ross killed? Did, like, Envy kill Ross before taking over Ross's, like, imagery to kind of try to infiltrate? Like, did someone die off screen and we're not actually gonna kill Hughes? But then I saw that his wife and daughter were there, and I was like, ooh, okay, this is kind of... And then as soon as she said, why are they burying my papa? I was like, okay, yeah, this is actually Hughes' funeral.
Why do you think... Okay, so Hughes goes to use his first phone, and then stops, and then goes to the outside phone. Understanding, like, immediately is like, okay, if you think that the fires, like, if that the moles inside the government, it would be way easier for them to hear that I know something if I'm using a political phone. Let's keep it more outsider than that. But at the same time, I'm like, if this wasn't immediately after Hughes fucking destroyed, throwing knife, cross-mapped Lust in the fucking forehead, then I'm like, that's all it is. But with the immediacy of, like, blood, pain, I'm almost like, is Hughes leaving to, like, potentially try to save this, like, girl or other people in the building?
This
like
is
Cheska? Like,
okay, there is an assassin in the building.
Yeah.
What do they say when there's, like, when there is something happening? You can't build up people's anxieties, you know, that's only going to make the situation worse. If you were like, there was a lady in there that attacked me, 5 other guys are going to run in there. Hughes is at the top in terms of, like, the people that are probably currently within the building at this time, meaning he's probably the most equipped to do what he did against Lust. These are other just, like, office workers, receptionist lady. If he pulls the fire alarm, then in the chaos, more people could get hurt. Him knowing that he's the target, he knows he's the target.
Exactly.
So he's really thinking here.
Granted,
I don't think the wiretap is the thing here. I think it's the protection of the people in the building.
And I realize I could be overreaching there, but I just love Hughes so much that, like, I wouldn't put anything past him in this regard. At least the 10 episodes we've got of him. Damn it. I was surprised for some reason that Winry wasn't aware or hasn't met the teacher of Ed and Al.
Same.
I think that I'm probably misremembering, but it felt like when I had seen the teacher with Ed and Al previously, or we talked about it, it was within their hometown.
That's what I thought.
But that could have just 100% not been the case, or Winry didn't have to be there, you know?
We also don't know how long they were necessarily taught. Was it like a day class, 48-hour
True.
like trek through the woods in the wilderness?
Ed and Al said that there are two reasons for going,
right.
about the stone, but then because they've been on a losing streak, it's almost like a sense of training, but it's about the inside.
Something within them, that there's a strength within them.
What does that mean? Is that like a family thing, or is that too far out?
That might be too far.
It will help to strengthen us so far. I want to get even stronger. And then Winry says, oh, damn. I missed it. Sorry. You're going there because you want to improve your fighting? What are you? No, dumbass, it's not as simple as that. It's not just the fighting, it's what's inside us, you might say.
Maybe what we're calling upon is their vulnerability. The fact that Envy's conversation with Ed, but then that prisoner's lines to Al, how that was able to shake them. You know, like things that they're coming across now, what they're learning about the Philosopher's Stone and the using of humans. Al confronting someone else that is a soul within armor, that they need to really, obviously we saw them have their like communication at the end of episode 9, but we need to solidify that foundation again, and their resolve and trust, maybe with them, trust in themselves even too. That could be what we're talking about. Also, depending on
on who this person is, who the teacher is, how they got the teacher. Let's say that they are an alchemist let's just say that they are an alchemist to know of alchemy, and they are an estate alchemist, and they are somebody they trust privately to go to for just picking their brain. They are more mature and have been through more since the last time that they have talked to their teacher, just by the nature of time passing and what they've gone through. If meeting up with them and talking to them about their current information and about like the brutality of what's at hand, they could, I don't know, like they try to understand more about themselves or about alchemy in general. Like maybe it could, like, your further knowledge of alchemy and what it takes to go into
the
things
within us could be in terms of like understanding.
Yeah, and with more understanding could therefore breed more creativity within using alchemy, which would be strength.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that Hughes was killed at this time purposefully because the Elric brothers were gone?
No.
Part of me teeters with part of me is like on the fence with the idea, because obviously it gets brought up, like the Elric brothers aren't here in the Armstrong-Roy conversation, to bring up the fact that it has to do with the Philosopher's Stone. But we also know that envy and lust and gluttony are somewhat trying to avoid conflict with the brothers.
That's very true.
And so they might want to try to take out everyone else while
the
brothers are away.
That's you're right. That's a good point. It felt like it was solely because Hughes like immediately put it together, but it could be.
It could be because he put things together, and so we need to get rid of him while they're gone, so they don't get involved.
True. Fuck. We're going to Rush Valley, and Winry is
Dublith,
and I'm not even as excited as I want to be about it. Do you think that they'll have gotten the news of Hughes's death by next episode, or do you think we're gonna have to wait to see their reactions to it?
I don't really know how communication
Phones.
across. Well, obviously there's phones, but there's not cell phones. So are the Elric brothers the type that are gonna go up to a payphone and call home, you know, to be like, hey guys, we got here safely? Like, I don't know if they're the type that are gonna check in like that.
Yeah.
At least at the beginning. Maybe at the end of their journey with whatever they learn in Dublith with their teacher, they would then want to call and be like, this is what we did.
If Winry Ed or Al buy something for Hughes to take back for him, I will throw up.
I love that during the episode you were like, do you think they're talking like this about Hughes because he's dead? And I was like, probably. That's definitely what's happening.
Roy is an incredibly interesting character. His line about it raining and then crying was everything.
There was a line right before that that I think also was amazing, other than a crying line. And it was about understanding the Elric brothers choosing to try to bring their... I think I can now... Okay.
Let's go back a little bit, yeah. Do you want to read it?
Alchemists are nasty creatures, aren't they, Lieutenant? There's a part of me that was just frantically piecing together the theories of human transmutation in my head. I think I can now understand what those boys felt when they tried to transmute their brother. The fact that upon finding out that Hughes was dead, he started frantically trying to figure out how he could bring Hughes back. How much he cares for Hughes, that he, in a split second, was thinking about doing a taboo for this man.
Fuck. God. You know who I'm more interested in after this episode than that is surprising? Scar. Like, as the episodes go on and I have more time, we try not, give or take, sometimes we try not to talk too much about the shows that we're watching outside of this room.
Yeah, that's true.
Depending on circumstances. But the more time that we get within this universe, like, the more complex everything gets and the more questions that I have. And I'm like, Scar, I need to know more about you and like what your feelings on everything and what your path will be narratively within this show.
You know, that just made me think of how crazy it is that this story clears up what you think is initially the biggest secret of the entire plot within the first 6 episodes, being what the current state of the Philosopher's Stone is. And it turns into more of like a political intrigue and like unrest of citizens and war, and much more about like overthrowing the government, maybe even. And that there's more of the secrets that are to be discovered or within that.
Yeah. Did you know that there are apparently 2 different versions of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone?
No.
Apparently in like UK, it's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and that's how they refer to it. But then in US, it's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and they refer to it as Sorcerer's Stone. So like if you line the 2 movies up, they're just 2 different cuts for every time somebody name drops it, and they switched it up.
Why?
I don't know, man. Obviously,
that just sounds like extra work.
Reasons, but it made me mad. I'm like, I love everything behind the Philosopher's Stone within mythos and history and like lore for the real world. And I want more talk of the Philosopher's Stone and philosophy. Fuck. I was talking to you about...
This is a conversation we had like 30 minutes before entering
There
this
aren't
room.
documentaries really about historically accurate philosophy, and I know that's a bold claim, but I'm saying within like this resurgence of documentaries in the past 15 years, there's a documentary on everything in like an extreme abundance and saturation. I'm not bold enough to say that there are no philosophy documentaries, but I'm saying within any comparable range, it is astonishing to see the lack of documentaries on philosophy.
I feel like there's material there to be explored. Like, come on, what about the great philosophers' lives? What about finding original things of theirs? I don't know.
It doesn't matter about what is for sure known. Like, the speculation upon history and, like, re-examining historical lore as we gain little bits of knowledge through our own... I don't know. I'm good. You good?
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.